Okay, manicure time. We did this manicure, I think 10 days, 11 days ago. As you can see, it lasted really, really well. So this was Dazzle Dry base coat, one coat. I usually don't use two. And then one coat of Pinkies Up and one coat of Stardust. Okay, and there was an accident with cutting vegetables. Okay, so you know what? I'm going to show you something. If, let's say, you have issues with shaping the nails, you can actually try shaping the nails with the nail polish on. It's fine as well. Because usually, if the polish is opaque, you don't see the white part as much, and you are seeing only the end of the nail, and the shape might be better. So in the previous video, I was explaining how to shape the nails, and I might actually go over it again because a lot of people are interested in the shaping part. So let me show you on the next nail. Always compare with the other nails to see if they are even, because sometimes the key is not to shape one nail correctly, but to shape all of them so they kind of look similar. So you always want to check with the other nails. So here's what I do. I shorten the nails with the file kind of straight. And then I go underneath here very gently. And then I go up to the half, like to the middle of the nail. And up. Until I have a good shape that I like. By the way, normally, obviously, I would use a new file, but this is my mom's file, so we're using it. And now I'm trying to repeat the same thing on the other side, so the nail is symmetrical. Now we're going to compare. By the way, as you can see, the lighting is way better today because I bought, as I promised in the last video, I bought the newer, I guess it's called newer stand, and the new day lamp. So I absolutely love the day lamp, and the one that I bought, I actually brought to the salon, and I brought the one from the salon here. So the new ones have 4 settings. So they have a low, like medium low, medium high, and a high. And very, very good lighting, I have to say. Daylight lamps are the best, and I've been using them for years and years. I don't even know how many years. I remember when the lamps had regular bulbs, not the LED bulbs. So I think at least for 15 years. A lot of nail professionals use these lamps because they give you a very bright daylight. So you don't have to strain your eyes. If you're interested in these lamps, please let me know. The other one, apparently the new one, doesn't have as much glare, but I'll have to compare side by side, so I might do it in a salon. Okay. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to remove the polish now. So I'm using pure acetone here. And this is what I mostly do. So let's see if this one budges. It should. So I press down. Okay. Press down. Meaning press on the nail and then press down. So I guess press. I'm going to go over again. By the way, these are like cool containers. And you know what I really like about this company? So Douglas came out with this kind of a gel polish. How they just called it gel polish remover, acetone, and nail cleaner degreaser. No fancy names, no nothing, just straight to the point. I appreciate that. So just go over again. And now what I'm going to do is, let's see how the nail, my nails are looking so yellow on camera, but they're not like yellow like this in real life. I don't know what it is. So I'm going to use a hardener because the nails are quite flexible. This is the original one, Mavala Original. And this one has formalin. This one doesn't need it because it's a hard nail. So that's the key is to only use a hardener when you need your nails harder. And not everybody needs their nails harder. Many people actually need their nails more flexible. So normally my nails are not, I mean, they are a little bit yellow from wearing a regular polish because I always test different things. And I really don't like it. It really bothers me. And I do understand that there are a lot of people that it just doesn't bother them, which is fine. Especially if they're wearing a darker polish. But I like wearing very like clear polishes, so the yellowing really bothers me. So I'm going to switch now. I'm not going to test anything because I think even the Dior Nail Glow, when you use it all the time, it does cause some yellowing. So I'm just going to use Dazzle Dry, and I'm sure that the yellowing is going to grow out completely. Because when I didn't wear any nail polish, my nails were not yellow. I mean, they're not horribly yellow, but you can see it. Okay, I'm going to tell you something about builder gels and fixing damaged nail or broken nails. Okay, so here's the thing with a chipped nail like that. I could extend it. So in order to extend it, I could put a form underneath, then put gel on top. But obviously that gel, when it's just like glued to the end of the nail, it's not going to stay. It's going to break. Because believe it or not, nails are actually very, very strong. So they're always stronger than the gel. So you have to build up the gel and you have to overlap the nail. So if I extend the nail with a builder gel, then the nail eventually is going to be a little damaged from the builder gel up to here, or like up to here. So it's going to take like 2 months for this, at least 1 to 2.5 months for this to grow out. But if I just leave it like this, it's going to look a little ugly for another week or 2. So my question is, you know, like if someone has some like really big event and people are really looking at their hands or their hand model or something, or it's their wedding, it could be worth it. But generally, I think it's better to just wait for the damaged part or for the short nail to grow out, which again, is going to be a week or 2. And also, people forget that the nail is always going to be more prone to breaks in this area where the product and the nail joins. So very often what happens, you have to, like I said, build it up quite a bit, because otherwise you're gonna get a break here. So I'm going to shorten Molly. I had a client who this happened with a vegetable peeler, and I think same thing happened with her, but she like lost like a chunk of her nail. It was pretty serious. But it all grew out well. So I'm going to get underneath here just a little bit, smooth this out. So this might feel a little sensitive right now. It's going to get better. Okay, so these are just the cotton little pads. By the way, I'm working over a pillow, so it's a little weird because the hand is pretty high. It's not uncomfortable, but it's different. The filming of it is a little different. Make sure that you are not using this if your nails are damaged. So hardener, it's designed to be used on like normal nails. And don't touch the skin with it, obviously. Okay, so this one is done. Now onto the cuticle removal part. So now I remove the cuticle in like 2 stages. So first, I am going to nudge back the skin fold. So this is not a cuticle, and I know I'm talking about it all the time, but you know, many people are still not sure of what's what. So, and we have also a lot of new viewers. So hey, if you're a new viewer, please let me know. And you know what? So my mom has been using Carousel, and I can see how that skin is, maybe I spoke a little bit too soon, but no, it is softer. So now, as you can see, this finger, that skin tends to stick, right, to the nail. And it's just, it is what it is. Some people's skin just likes to stick. And in order to have that skin sit nicely around the nail, what I find, because you don't have to do anything, but what I find is very helpful is using Carousel at night, because it has a very good exfoliant and a very nice moisturizer, and then nudge that skin every couple of days. Unfortunately, some people don't have that issue. I have clients that don't do absolutely anything. They don't even use any oil, and their skin doesn't stick to the nail. It's like the one on a thumb. But you know, everybody's different. Okay, so let's do the other hand. So I'm doing this with the side of the stick and just feeling for the skin. So a lot of people are asking, why am I doing this dry? Like, why am I not soaking? If you need, I don't know, I find that doing this excessively and pushing the skin is not what I'm trying to do. If that skin is truly stuck, then don't do this step yet. Soften the skin, make sure that the skin is healthy, and then nudge back. So this actually is pretty elastic. It is not giving, causing any pain whatsoever. So I'm just nudging it back with it. I'm not doing this because this can go way too far. This is the stick that has, like, as you can see, because there are different ones as well. And I really, really like this tool. Like it's sharp, but it's not too sharp. Okay. So I'm going to use this Melody Susie e-file at 8,000 RPM. And I think the other hand, I'm going to show you how to remove the cuticle with the cuticle remover. Because just because I use electric file doesn't mean that you should be using it. Because you know what, you can do a lot of damage. And when that skin, because really, that skin becomes stretched. So in this case, this is not overgrown, it's just stretched. It can be overgrown when people are cutting that skin, because then the skin develops callus. So it's, yeah, it grows, there's more skin, the skin gets harder and it grows thicker. So I guess you could call it overgrown skin around the nails. It's not a cuticle, because cuticle I'm removing now from the nail plate. So this is just stretched because it was stuck to the nail. So as the nail is growing, it's just pulling the skin with it. So now for some people, that skin will shrink back much quicker, because it also depends on your skin elasticity and how you take care of the skin. I find when people are using the oil after pretty much each hand wash if they can, and the carousel at night, that skin, and nudging that skin back, because if you won't nudge it back, then it's gonna get stuck and it's going to stretch. So nudging back every couple of days is necessary in that case. Again, if that skin is not stretched, if it's good, then don't nudge it. Don't worry about it. If it's like swollen, or when you've been cutting it for a long time, then don't mess with that skin. Let it heal first. See, so now this part here, the white little flakies, that's cuticle. I'm going to show you a graph of what is cuticle and what is the skin fold. So there's two like skins around the nail. Okay, so again, I'm going to explain. So when you nudge that skin fold back gently, the cuticle stays behind. So you don't want to be like jamming and really scraping that nail, because then you are going to have that cuticle stuck underneath the skin fold, right? You want to remove it. So here's the cuticle, and it's pretty stuck as well to the nail. You can remove it dry with a very sharp tool, but I know that sometimes people, they can, hurt themselves easily. I had someone mention that they were trying to nudge back that skin, and I guess they were pushing, and they cut their finger. So that's why I prefer to use those wooden sticks. They're kind of safer that way. So I'm putting it on the nail, kind of spreading it a little bit. Okay, so this is Blue Cross. These products are very alkaline, so they literally break down the skin. So they won't break the nail. They won't break down the nail because the nail has a different structure, but you have to be careful because if you leave them on for too long, you know, and you scrape the nail too much, then you can damage the nail as well. So you want to make sure that you read the directions and see how long you have to remove them. I find Blue Cross works very, very fast. So I like to leave it on for about 2 minutes. But if someone has like really irritated skin around the nails, well, if it's really, really irritated, if the skin is broken, then I can't work on broken skin. But if that skin just looks a little irritated, then I would rather do the dry manicure because I'm not using cuticle remover that can irritate the skin further, because it's very difficult to put the cuticle remover on the nail only without the product not dripping onto the skin, right? Okay, I'm just going to spray now, but normally you don't need anything fancy. You can just rinse your hands. By the way, if you're doing on your own nails, then I recommend doing one hand and then doing the other hand. It's much easier that way. So now you could use this little stick if you are very new to this. You see, it's okay. But I prefer to use, this is the mini one, the little tweezer man pushing, it's called. And just push the cuticle off the nail. See? So if you're doing this yourself, I suggest letting the nails dry out for about an hour before you're putting nail polish on. I mean, it's not a huge deal, but it helps. Because right now the nail plate absorbed a lot of the water. And when it absorbs a lot of water, it swells a bit. And then when it dries out, it contracts. So it's almost like you wouldn't, I guess, you wouldn't polish a wood or a surface that is not perfectly dry, right? This tool actually is one of my favorites. I like to recommend it because it has a very good sharpness. It's pretty sharp, but it's not like extremely sharp. So you're not going to like slice your nail off. And I like to use this side. And then you can use this little side to clean underneath the nails a little bit as well. It's very gentle. It's important not to overdo this cleaning part because you can separate the nails or the nail plate from the nail bed. So I'm going to use a little buffer block now. So these are little skirts. They kind of, it's a piece of nail that sticks to the underside of the nail. So this, what this does when I go over the free edge, it bevels it and it makes it feel very nice and smooth. So it really doesn't matter that much which kind of file you're using. This is very, very nice and smooth. Just go over the free edge like this. So I'm just going to go like this over the where the cuticle was. going to snip this. I'm going to do another little step. Just going to go with this file, just very, very gently. See these little pieces? These little pieces. I don't know, maybe I'm just weird, but these little pieces bother me personally. It doesn't bother me that someone has them. It bothers me on my nails. So I kind of go like this. So I do the same thing with the electric file, but of course, you know, if you guys don't have electric files, which I don't recommend you get one, this is very, very helpful. Very gently. I find if this is hard, obviously, in order to prevent it, using carousel and some oil is a very good idea, but sometimes you still have it. I mean, we use our hands. Okay. I see a lot of nails that are buffed smooth on the internet. And yes, that makes the nail polish go on really nice and smooth without any ridges, but over time you can definitely damage the nail. So I leave the texture of the natural nail because I want to leave all the structure of the nail as healthy as possible. So now these little, I think they're actually called hangnail clippers or something. So this is how I'm going to do it. Pull the skin back. You want to make sure that these are nice and sharp, and then you don't overdo it. And once you cut something, you have to really protect that skin because I find that it gets harder again. This is all I'm going to do. So just make sure that you apply like even Vaseline or something all the time just to soften that skin, because I know it's going to harden it. And also, after you wash them, I mean, you can wash them and put them in alcohol. Just make sure that you put this back on and be very careful with the ends, because the ends, once you hit them, they're garbage. So I didn't bring my Dazzle Dry prep, unfortunately, home. So I'm just going to use alcohol. The prep would be nicer though. You see what I did? I just put it on the towel. I find the Dazzle Dry prep does not leave the skin so dry. And apparently the polish lasts longer. I'm saying apparently because I really haven't tested it like side by side, but I do use it on clients, the prep. Make sure. You know, I had a viewer who was asking that she gets lifting with Dazzle Dry, and I'm going to go over this. So sometimes you want to make sure that the area is very nice and dry. There's no dust in the sides. So you kind of want to go into the sides. Make sure you clean it. There's no dust. There's a couple reasons why this might be happening, and I'll go over them in just 1 second. So one of the reasons, like I mentioned just now, is something is preventing the adhesion. So sometimes could be cream, could be the cuticle, could be something dust. So you want to make sure that the nail is clean from the cuticle, so from the skin cells, and also from any dust or creams. Number 2, and I had the same issue, and a lot of people have the same issue. So they don't really understand, or they don't know, because with other brands, I guess it's not as necessary, that you apply the base coat absolutely everywhere without touching the skin. And you don't want to flood it. You want to leave like a tiniest little gap. but you don't want to touch the skin. But you also want to make sure that you cover the whole area, that you don't go kind of like this, you see? Because if you go like this, now I'm going to cover it, and then you put nail polish, especially if it's transparent, over this area, it's going to not bond, because the Dazzle Dry nail polish does not bond to the nail very well, and it's going to lift. The base coat bonds to the nail. So you can only apply the polish over the base coat, and you can try it for yourself. I find it sometimes happens on my nails because if I'm doing something very quickly, I miss one side, and we have tendency when we are polishing our nails to sometimes miss, let's say like this, because we're not looking from side to side. It's best to kind of really turn. I can't do it in front of the camera now, but turn from side to side and just look how the light is bouncing off. Make sure that everything is covered. Also, make sure that the nails are not very, very wet, right? From the water, from the soak or something, because that can cause the lifting. And what definitely can cause the lifting as well is touching the skin. So if you flood the skin, it's going to lift from that area. So I asked the viewer to send me a picture of that nail so I can troubleshoot. I'm not sure if I'm going to get it or not. If I do, please, guys, let me know in the comment section if you want me to kind of troubleshoot based on the picture. So we're just going to leave this nail the way it is. It's going to grow. Because who sees a pinky anyway? It is so important to have a good lighting. Because if you don't have a good lighting or good glasses, for that matter, good vision, then it's easy to make a mistake. Okay, so now it's important to let the base coat dry. So there is no, usually if there is some wet areas, it's usually on the ends. Or sometimes if you're using too much base coat, it would be flowing into the sides. You want to make sure that you look at the base coat. And I really rarely use 2 layers of base coat. I know Dazzle Dry recommends 2 layers, but I don't find it much more effective. So yes, the base coat has to be dry. And also the base coat, you want to make sure that the base coat is nice and clear, that it's not like cloudy, because if it's cloudy, it needs to be warmed up. So just stand it in hot water. Make sure you don't get the water into the polish. By the way, this polish is very easy to polish with. So if you like this polish and if you're new, then to polishing your nails, I would definitely recommend it. It also wears very, very well. You don't see brush strokes. It's good for people that have a little bit of ridges. Okay, someone asked me as well in the comment section. By the way, thank you so much for all your questions and your comments in the comment section. I read them all. I don't always have a chance to reply to them all, but I do read them all. Someone was asking me how to make the polish thicker, meaning the coating thicker, because she was saying that sometimes the coating does not cover ridges or imperfections. And you know, I think this is one of the reasons why Dazzle Dry is so effective, or sometimes it causes less surface damage because it creates such a thin coating. I think this is one of the reasons, because I think sometimes a thick coating can pull the nail plate a little bit. So for example, I find that from talking to viewers, people that have more surface damage issues with Dazzle Dry, they usually use their bridge filler called Transform. So not that I, say that it's not a good product, but I don't know. I'm just careful with it because I've heard people having more surface damage when using it. I don't know. So because I think Dazzle Dry creates such a thin coating, maybe Because of that, the coating moves with the nail a little bit more. Maybe it's just less stiff. I don't know. But I find that using the one layer of base coat and not using multiple coats. I know someone was mentioning that they use actually 3 layers of the transform, and they had quite a lot of surface damage. So now when people do have issues of surface damage, meaning the white spots, the uneven nail that looks almost dry or something, they usually, like I said, are applying multiple coats. So maybe the coating is stiffer, maybe it pulls on the nail, no idea. So this is dry already, so I didn't wait between the coats. So usually when I'm working on the client, when I'm done with the last nail, usually the first nail is dry already. This is such a gorgeous color. I'm not sure if the video will show the shift. It kind of is coppery and magenta. It's really, really pretty. As you can see, I'm applying pretty thin coats. I'm putting pressure on the brush. You can see that the bristles are spreading, which indicates pressure. Sometimes when I see that it touched the skin a little bit, you can kind of pull it away. So yes, if you flood the skin, what I would do, I would take the same stick and just make sure that I would clean it out. But later on, when that line is a little bit uneven, I just use an acrylic brush, obviously never used for acrylic liquid, but acrylic brush, a round one, dipped in pure acetone, and then I just clean up that line. It's easier to do it when the nail polish is dry. By the way, a little tip. So when I first pull the brush out of the bottle, I clean it off. And then when I go to redip the brush, I don't redip it all the way down, because then you're going to have polish like dripping all over the place. You can't control the polish. So I always pay attention to where the polish is, and I dip it as far as I need to. So for larger nails, I usually load almost the whole brush. For small nails, like half the brush, for example. Because if I dipped it all the way, it would start. Sometimes I wipe it. Can you see now I have half brush? If I dipped it all the way, then it would just get all over here and starts dripping. It would start dripping. Oops. See, perfect. Perfect, I messed up. So now I would wipe it. Okay. See, it's on the little stick. So I actually don't have my acrylic brush here. No, I don't have it. So I can't even perfect it, but you have seen me do that many times, so I'll spare you. And they're not bad, actually. I managed to polish nicely. Now the top coat. As you can see, I'm polishing quite slowly. I'm paying attention to what I'm doing. I'm going to wrap the free edge on the top coat. The bottle is half empty, that's why I kind of go almost all the way in. I also make sure that I don't really slam the brush too much into the bottle, because that can introduce little bubbles. And then you can end up with, well, bubbles in your top coat. So just place it, let the polish flow onto the brush, wipe one side, you have quite a bit, and slowly. I think people watch a lot of the Instagram videos on like high speed, and the videos are sped up, which we kind of learned the wrong way how to polish. And this is done very subconsciously. You kind of watch it and you know that it's sped up, but you end up repeating it. Also, you want to make sure that the top coat covers the nail polish well. Also, make sure that the top coat is at a right consistency. So if you need to thin it out, make sure you thin it out. When you get the system, get their nail polish thinner, because you will for sure need it. If you want to use 2 layers of top coat over these shimmery polishes, you can, but then you have to apply that layer of top coat immediately on the other hand. So let's say I would finish this hand and then I would apply the top coat again on this hand, if you want to. Because sometimes these polishes, they almost like eat up the top coat. That's what they call it. So they're not as smooth, but it just depends what you want to do. So I'm going to give them 5 minutes to dry and we'll apply oil. So this looks so different in the normal light. I'm gonna apply oil. This looks more golden. It's beautiful. So now I apply a drop per nail. Just flows nicely everywhere, but you don't have to apply that much oil when you are applying it after each hand wash. I do recommend applying it after each hand wash. After each hand wash, just a drop of oil. And that's all you need. And if it's too much, if it feels too greasy, just wipe your hands, because what your skin needed, it absorbed already. So you don't need much. So now I usually use like a very light lotion. It's been 6 minutes and the nails are dry. And this is how they look.